Thank you for joining us. And before we get started with today's video, if you guys like what you're seeing and hearing from the Locked On Senators podcast, go ahead and hit like, smash the subscribe button so you can be the first to know about Sens content. Now, we're going to be doing a ton of these prospect profiles, so if you agree this is someone the Sens should look at or steer clear, leave your comment below so we can hear from you. Now, we got 64 of these, so let's get into it.
All right, coming in at number 26 on today's edition of the Locked On Senators Draft Rankings. Oh boy, he's big, he's sturdy, he's reliable from the Quebec Remparts. It's Nathan Gaucher.
Nathan Gaucher, as you mentioned, big. I've got him listed at 6'3", 207 pounds. He's a right shot centerman playing with the Quebec Remparts. And Ross, I don't know about a lot of the QMJHL jerseys. Like, I don't watch the Q a lot, but watching highlights, the graphic design team in that league needs to get working on. Because the picture we have on YouTube, this one's not bad, but they have some Christmas jerseys that I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to do the Devils green and red design, but it didn't play for me. So that's one comment right off the bat is the Q. And we talked about the Gatineau Olympique jerseys.
Oh yeah,
not quite hitting right either. So let's get some work on the graphic design for the Q. That's the first thing I want to get off my chest here. Back to Nathan Gaucher here. 66 games played, 31 goals, 26 assists, good for 57 points, and he was the QMJHL best defensive forward in 2020-2021.
So that, for a lot of these prospects, was their rookie year, but Nathan Gaucher was actually a 2019 draft pick, so he was able to play an extra year before that, before COVID hit. So he's one of the lucky ones from that standpoint, and that award is called the Guy Carbonneau Award, so obviously pretty prestigious there with a name like that, and he fits the bill. Now, his first year in the QMJHL, the offensive numbers were not there. And you see that a lot of guys. They take some time to get in. Even the second year when he won this award, it was still like, okay, he's starting to figure it out at this level, just like at a point per game. But this year, I mean, you could say that the points were slightly less per game, but 31 goals. He finally figured out the offensive production. Now, Elite Prospects, though, says his shot selection isn't very good. So to score 31 goals when your shot selection isn't even very good, you wonder what kind of ceiling that could bring. The rankings are as follows. Bob McKenzie has him listed at 20th on his list. Corey Pronman has him at 23. Chris Peters has him at 28. Elite Prospects at 30. Scott Wheeler at 38. And Craig Button at 47. That's an average of 31, Pilsy. He's a right shot centerman. Great in the face-off dot, kills penalties, stands in front of the net on the power play. Like, this guy, I would say, is a jack of all trades, master of none type thing.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And when you say maybe the shot selection isn't the best, but still he's scoring 31 goals, I think that's because he's a guy, like you mentioned, he uses his size to plant himself in front of the net. And he's not someone that's going to rely on getting into open spots in like the high slot and then getting a good wrist shot. He's going to be banging away garbage goals. He's going to be getting tips. He's going to be getting rebounds that bounce off the goalie's pads, and he outmuscles the defenseman to get to that loose puck. Like, that's the kind of things I see Gaucher doing, and he's able to use that power not only in front of the net, but to go through the neutral zone with purpose. Like, when I watch highlights of him, like, he doesn't have the puck on his stick and he's like, I wonder like where I'm going to go here. Let's see how things shake out. He's like, I'm going north and I'm going north full speed. And if anyone wants to try to stop me, look out. And that's what he's able to do in the Q, which we kind of mentioned before is often a much more skilled league with smaller players. So when you're 6'3", over 200 pounds, you're able to just go right through all those defensemen. And he's got a good motor and he plays with pace. That's what I like about him. And what he lacks in offensive ability, we mentioned he's not exactly a big scorer until his third year in the Q. He makes up for with hard work. Like, this guy, he drives hard to the net. He battles hard for loose pucks, and he's able to make good, solid, simple plays. And sometimes that's what you need out of your centerman. You can't make it too fancy. You just have to do the right play over and over, and eventually it's going to work out for you.
Yeah, 100%. I was reading a really interesting article about Gaucher by David St. Louis from Elite Prospects, and it looks like his most common line mate, this guy James Malatesta, not a great passer. Very
Yep.
trigger happy player,
Okay.
which was really making it difficult for him to help create like sustained offense in the offensive zone, because he's just kind of being forced to chase rebounds instead, because Malatesta just shoots at all times. Now, his head coach and general manager in Quebec is Patrick Waugh, and he praised the defensive reliability of his game, saying that he could use him in all situations. And back to that article from David St. Louis, I mean, the title says it all. Nathan Gaucher is definitely an NHLer. Now, say what you want about what that means for his upside, but one could easily picture him playing the same style that he plays right now in the NHL. So a really translatable game in terms of projection. Now, the key is, are you going to be Freddie Gauthier, who gets picked because you have that safe projection? You're big centerman, defensively reliable, but then you can't keep up at the NHL level. I don't think that's going to be a problem, because he does play, as you mentioned, with a ton of pace,
Yeah.
ton of speed. So for me, it kind of starts as a third line center floor, but does he have that extra playmaking ability that can put him in a top 6 role at the NHL level? That's what NHL scouts are going to have to decide.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I picked up on as well, Ross, from scouts' kind of conclusions at the end of their reports is, yeah, he's probably going to play in the NHL. He already has a lot of good tools that will make him a good centerman. He's very responsible in a defensive role. He's going to be your top guy on a PK unit because he's going to work hard. He's going to outmuscle guys. He's going to have that pace and purpose to get the puck out of the zone. He's a blue collar hockey player. That's what just screams out to me, Ross. He makes smart, simple plays. He's not going to wow you. Like, coaches and scouts are going to love him, but I don't think fans are going to be jumping out of their seats too often from highlight reel plays or anything, which is fine. You need guys like that. You can't have everybody just deacon like crazy and trying to make these highlight reel plays, because eventually that's junior hockey type play, and that's not gonna fly in the NHL or even the AHL or any kind of pro league for that matter. So I think you mentioned Freddie Gauthier as kind of a comparable. That's probably on the low side there, Ross. I think at best, I kind of compared him to a Philip Deneau type guy, right? Like someone
Sure.
that, sure, maybe you're looking at the goal totals and you're seeing that he's playing 18 to 20 minutes a night, and you're like, this guy had one goal on the way to a Stanley Cup Finals, 22 games played, one goal, and he's playing all the time. What's going on here? Okay, look at his Corsi numbers. Look at who he's shutting down. He's going up against always the top centerman
Yeah.
in those series. So I think there's a lot of value. And then look, Philip Deneau, when he found a home in LA where they're able to use him better than Montreal, he put up big numbers because he's just put in the right spots with the right players. So I really think that's a possibility for Gauthier here if he gets in the right system.
Corey Prodman, who had him ranked 23rd, compared him to Adam Lowry. A similar
Okay, yeah.
reasoning behind it,
Yep.
right? Third line center, lots of grit, matchup guy, above average NHL compete level. Now, again, it's his hockey sense where it's like, okay, is he a top 6 guy? But at this stage in the draft, like late first round, if you're saying this guy is definitely going to play games in the National Hockey League and a lot, like establish himself as a top 12 forward, no matter what, I think you probably say, okay, if there's some upside there, like a big kid, 6'3". Now,
Yep.
he's also one of the oldest players in the draft as well, as we kind of referenced by saying he was drafted into the queue
Yeah, he's
a
got
year
3 years of
earlier.
junior. That's very rare for we had a single prospect, Ross, that is 3 years in junior? I can't think of one.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Maybe the Western League kids, but those guys only played like a couple games. This guy's played like every game every year.
Yeah.
So lots of experience under his belt, and players right shot. It's more prevalent on D, but you also see it a little bit with forwards. It's a little more rare to have a right shot. So I think he's got a nice mix. He's obviously been a leader on Quebec. They've given him the A this year, November 6th, 2003 birthday. So going to be 19 next November. You got to think he's got a shot here at the Canadian World Junior team, maybe even this summer, but definitely next winter. And you can see the numbers there, 9 points in 12 playoff games as well. And plus 30 rating, 74 penalty minutes. Like, he mixes it up. He's in the mix for everything. And I really like him as a player. The offensive numbers you could see were a little more prevalent early on when he was in minor hockey, but I'm pretty high on this kid. I'm going to give him
Yeah.
4 stars for me. I think that he's going to be a solid NHL contributor. Now, Would I like the Senators to pick him at 7? Hell no. But at the same time, if he's available at 39, or if there's a situation where the Sens trade down to 25 or below, I would be
Isn't that trading
very
up?
comfortable.
Isn't that trading up?
I guess you could get semantics in there because
Okay.
you're trading down the draft board because they start at 1.
Right.
So you're trading down.
Okay.
But it's up because it's a higher number.
we gotta get that straightened out.
Good luck. Pillsy, how many stars for you?
Yeah, so basically my stars are based on the fact that I don't think he's going to be available at 7 or at 39. Like that's such a he's definitely going in the middle in my mind. So unless the Sens traded to a different number earlier in the draft, we'll go with that. They're probably not going to get him. So I put him at 3.5 stars just because he's got good size and good work ethic. And like if you got those two, that can take you a long way in a professional hockey career. Like if you just focus on I'm a guy with good size, I'm going to use that power and strength to my advantage, and I'm going to work my ass off. You can go far with that. So I really like Gaucher, and I think he's going to be a great player. The only reason I don't have him at 4 stars is I don't see a scenario where the Sens can put themselves in a place to select him.
And Montreal's going to take him at 26 if he's on the board.
Honestly, probably, yeah. So
because at number 1 they've got to take Shane Wright or even Slavkovsky, one of the like top end guys. You know that in front of the home crowd, they're going to at some point take a French player in the draft, probably more than one.
They have to, otherwise it'll be pandemonium if they don't select a high French player. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, and I mean this wouldn't be a bad pick. This wouldn't be a courtesy pick at all at that range. I think that he'd be a super solid player. Just a couple notes that I had on Gaucher as well from Elite Prospects. He's great at tipping the puck in front. Also has good board play. Great in transition and has good pace. And for the size, that means skating is not an issue.
Yep.
Safe projection with not a whole lot of upside, which is what we're kind of talking about there. And then 171 shots on goal, 31 goals. I mean, the percentage, say what you want about it, but I think that I think his offensive numbers are going to explode next year as a veteran of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. So I got 4 stars. Pillsy has 3.5, but realistically, unless the Senators trade where they're at, probably not going to be Nathan Gaucher.